Hello everybody, it's Sarah and this is the intro to a vlog that I have been filming for the past around 1.5 months. And that vlog is the vlog of me reading the secret TBR that I have been teasing a lot, both in videos as well as on Twitter. And I already had some people guess what that secret TBR is. So far, nobody guessed right. Because that secret TBR, which actually surprises me that no one guessed right, because the secret TBR is a TBR that quite a few booktubers actually do at the beginning of every year, and that is reading booktubers' favorite books of 2020. And so yeah, basically how I chose these books was, first of all, the booktuber had to already have uploaded a best of video by the time I finalized my decisions on which books to read. Second of all, most of these booktubers are booktubers that I of course watch regularly, that I count among my favorite booktubers, but also a lot of these people are people that, you know, I count as my friends or I at least regularly interact with. And then also the books aren't always the favorite books, because a lot of these booktubers didn't have, you know, ranked favorite lists. But also sometimes I either wasn't at all interested in the favorite book, so if it was a book, I did try to go out of my comfort zone, but if it was a book that I was just absolutely not interested in, I just didn't want to read it. And also, you know, sometimes I had read the favorite book already, which was the case especially with a lot of fantasy booktubers, because there were a lot of Rhythm of Wars on those lists. So yeah, what I'm basically gonna do in this intro is very quickly just gonna show you the books that I'm reading or that I have been reading for this vlog, because I'm filming this after I have filmed most of the clips for this vlog already. And I'm just gonna quickly show them to you and tell you from which best of list I got them from. However, I'm not gonna summarize the books now because I didn't want to have a big chunk at the very beginning of this video just summarizing 13 books, because I have 13 books by 10, I believe. It's 10 or 11 booktubers, I'm not sure. And how I ended up with 13 with 10 or 11 booktubers, I'll get to that. But yeah, I didn't want to have a big chunk summarizing all the books at the very beginning. Also, I only wanted to summarize once I had already read the book and not just go, you know, by the summary that's on the back. So you're gonna see the summaries as you go along through the video. Once I finish a book, I'm then gonna summarize it. But yeah, let's now quickly go through these books in no particular order so that we can then go to my actual reactions while reading them. By the way, I don't have any spoilers in this video. But yeah, the first of the books is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is from the best of list of Cody from Cody's Book Corner, and I believe it was spot 4 or spot 5 on her list. But all the other ones that were above that I had already read or I wasn't interested. So yeah, that's the first one. By the way, I will have all the best of lists as well as the channels linked down below, so go and check all of them out because they're all amazing booktubers that I love watching. But next I have Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, which is from Connor's list. The channel is Connor Stampanato, and this I believe was his favorite book. I think his list was ranked. Then I have Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, which is from Cleo's list, the channel being Bemused Bookworm, whose list I believe wasn't ranked. Then I have The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, which is the first book in the Dandelion series. No, the Dandelion Dynasty series, that's the name. And this is from Lena from Sufficiently Advanced Lena's list, and this I believe was her favorite book together with a second book, which you're also gonna see on this list, if I remember correctly. Then I have The Midnight Library by Matt Haig, and this I have from Books with Emily Fox, and this was literally the only book I hadn't read off of her list, aside from the Three-Body Problem, but I'm really not interested in reading the Three-Body Problem. So yeah, that was interesting. Then I also have The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, which is the first book in the Winter Night trilogy, I think this is called. This is from Aoife's From Words of Clover's list, or her list of the second half of 2020, and I believe her list wasn't ranked as well. Then I have The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood, which is the first book in the Serpent something series. I don't remember what, The Serpent Gates, that was the series name. I started a lot of series in this video, which, you know, considering I want to get rid of, not get rid, but you know, finish the series that are unfinished on my shelves, maybe wasn't the best idea. But yeah, this is from Katie's From Brightness Katie Reads list, and I believe that list also wasn't ranked. Then I have Wait by Jeanette Winterson. This is from Ashley from A Frolic Through Fictions list, and I don't remember if her list was ranked or not. But if it was, I think it was lower on the list actually, but this one was the book I was most interested in, so it was the one I picked up. Then I have Good Morning Midnight by Lily Brooks Dalton. This was the favorite book of 2020 of the lovely Monica from Mooney Reads. Then I have a book that was technically on a lot of lists, but I specifically got it from Jessie from The Bookish Mom. By the way, if you hear a lot of noise, it's because Hannah is cooking. But that book is The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wang, and this book was also the book that I mentioned that I believe was the favorite, together with Grace of Kings from Lena, and I believe Katie also had this on her list. I'm not 100% sure. My memory sometimes is kind of fuzzy. And then lastly, I have 3 books from the same booktuber. Because listen, I decided which books I would choose, and if I want to choose multiple books by the same booktuber, then I'm gonna do that. And this booktuber, her favorite book, or the book that she said was her favorite, was a book that very much fits into my plan of reading more translated fiction within 2021. Then there was one book where I needed an excuse to pick that book up and read it, but I'm talking more about that in the clip where I start reading that book, so not gonna talk about those reasons more right now. And then there was a book that I just really felt like I wanted to read that, and like that would really be up my alley. So yeah, I picked 3 books from that booktuber, and that booktuber is Lo from Lo Reads Things. The first of the books being 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Then the second book being The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. And the last of the books being White Chrysanthemum by Mary Lynn Bracht. And yeah, so that is it for the books I'm gonna be reading in this vlog. So now let's get into the vlog, I guess. And yeah, see you in the next clip, which I actually filmed over a month ago, so that's fun. That's how time works. Surprise! I actually found a spot that doesn't look too bad for when I film vlog updates while reading in bed. And I don't want to move over to my filming setup, but I also don't want to hold the camera in my hand. You're just gonna have to ignore the mess right here in the back. But anyway, I actually almost look wider than the wall. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, I thought I'd update you because I started the first of the books, which is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu, which, as I probably just said in the intro, that I'm gonna be filming way after I filmed this first check-in, was on the best of 2020 list of Lena from Sufficiently Advanced Lena, and I am enjoying it so much so far. I actually started it 2 days ago and I'm about 130 pages in, and it is a really slow book, so it's really slow to start, mostly because so far there has been a lot of exposition. Like every time a new character is introduced, you kind of almost get a whole chapter of their past and kind of flashbacks and how they came to be at the point that they are at now, which I actually don't mind. I actually really enjoy this type of writing style because it's not really exposition, because it's not like you stop in the plot or anything or in the action what's happening right now, but it's just like you have a flashback, you learn about the history of this person, and then you're in the present again. and I am really, really enjoying this type of storytelling, which so far we actually got more flashbacks than we got actual plot in the present of the book. And yeah, for the 100th time, I'm really enjoying it so far. Actually, at the time when you're watching this right now, like think back to a month or 1.5 months ago, and if you remember me going crazy on Twitter because of my secret TBR and because of wanting to talk about the book to someone but not really being able to because it's a secret TBR, it has to stay secret, then it's this book because I'm enjoying it so much. But yeah, aside from this, I'm probably gonna start reading multiple books of this TBR at once at some point, but right now this is the only one I have here physically. But anyway, that was it for this update, so I guess I'll check back in once I've read a few more 100 pages of this book, or once I start the next book on the TBR, whichever comes first really, and I'll see you then. So it is now the 13th of January, so it's been a couple of days since I last, or I guess first updated you. Also, I'm sorry if I look a mess. It's almost midnight and I'm already ready for bed. I just haven't taken off my sweater yet because, you know, sweaters are cozy. That's why. But anyway, I am now about 300 pages into The Grace of Kings and I am still enjoying it so much. Like, since I first heard Lena talk about this book, I was like, I really want to pick this up, and I'm so happy that I did, because I cannot remember the last time I picked up a completely new to me fantasy that I enjoyed this much. I mean, I guess The Kings of the Wild was a little bit along the lines, but the fantasies are so different that I can't really compare it, because in this one obviously we have a lot more of like a military fantasy and politics and so on, which I'm really enjoying, which you don't really get in Kings of the Wild. But yeah, I especially enjoy the characters right now. I really love Kunigaru. He's such a delight as a character. He's amazing. I mean, obviously I'm gonna keep this spoiler free, but for those of you who have read the book, like the Battle of Tsudi, was that the name of the city? I think it was. But anyway, the battle of the hometown of Kuni, I just love that battle so much. It's so much fun. I love Mata and Kuni as characters, as kind of opposite characters that really, you know, like each other and appreciate each other, and their interactions are just so amazing. I also, even though we don't get a lot of them, really love the female characters within this story. I really love the princess, whose name I forgot right now. Kikomi was the princess name. I also really love Kuni's wife Gia. I think she has appeared very little so far, and I don't think she will appear that much more, to be honest. But like, her and Kuni and their interactions, the few things we get to see of them, are just such a delight. I enjoy it so much. I enjoy this book so much. I cannot tell you how much I enjoy it. And yeah, also I have started The Sword of Kaigen. This arrived today, and this book is really heavy. I mean, obviously you can't see through the camera or through the video, but this book is surprisingly heavy for a paperback. It's like heavier than a lot of the hardcovers that I have. But anyway, I have so far read the first 4 chapters in this. So far I'm really enjoying it. I'm really intrigued by the magic. I wasn't aware for some reason that this isn't like your traditional medieval style fantasy. I mean, of course this isn't Western medieval style fantasy because this is an Eastern Asian setting, but it seems quite contemporary. I mean, not the specific setting that we're at, but like the world building in general. I mean, not even contemporary, maybe even a little bit futuristic, because you have planes and you have holograms and stuff. So yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes. Yeah, anyway, that was it for this update, and I'll see you in a few days probably, which probably will be when I'll either start Before the Coffee Gets Cold, or Giovanni's Room, because those 2 books should arrive in the next few days. So I'll at least start one of those as well. And I'll probably be done with Grace of Kings by the end of the weekend. So in a few days. But yeah, that was it, and see you in the next clip. So it's now the 19th of January and I have finished the first books of this TBR, which is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I just wanted to tell you that I'm now done with this and I really enjoyed it. And also I'm now going to summarize what this book actually was, because I don't want to have all the summaries at the very beginning when I talk about the book and just being one summary after the other. But this is basically an Asian-inspired political military high fantasy, although the military parts are less battles and more strategies, although there are certainly some battles within this. And this is set after the death of an emperor who conquered all these lands. And now that he's dead, like, the different factions within this new empire are starting to rebel, and we follow two characters who are going to play a very important role within that rebellion. One of those characters is kind of a thief, a gambler, a bandit type person with a very good heart, and the other character is a long lost heir to this very military martial general, like, kind of family. And yeah, he's on search to get his legacy back. So yeah, that's what this book is about, and I really enjoyed it. And otherwise, let's move on to the next book, and that is The Sword of Kaigen, which I am now halfway done, and I forgot to spoilery vlog it, which I originally wanted to do. So I guess I'm also gonna tell you more of my thoughts while reading this. And yeah, I'm just really enjoying this one as well so far. It's very different from what I expected it to be. Like, I don't know what exactly I expected, but I didn't expect what this is. It's on the one hand kind of futuristic a little bit, but on the other hand it's very traditionally fantasy as well. And I have the assumption right now, which I don't think is a spoiler, but I had the assumption that this was gonna like follow a war, but I have the assumption now that it's actually just one battle, which might be even more heartbreaking, might rip my heart into even more pieces. Also, fun story, a few days ago when I read this and when the first battle, or the one battle, depending on what this is gonna be, just started, I was like so into it. People were starting to die and like it was intense. It was intense as fuck. And Hannah decided to start blasting The Age of Aquarius from the musical Hair, which was not the mood. So I had to stop reading because I just, you know, was not... It didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me, this happy-go-lucky musical music, and then like reading like an intense as fuck scene where like you're scared for every single character in the scene. So yeah, that was something that happened, and that was kind of hilarious. But yeah, I'm really excited to continue on with this and to finish this, and I'm sure it'll only take me a few more days. And then I started Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This was the pick that I picked from the best of 2020 from Clio from Bemused Bookworms list. And I have read the first chapter. This is a really short book. I have read the first chapter so far. I'm a fourth of the way into it because there's only 4 chapters. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. It's a very different vibe from these two, obviously, because this is kind of speculative literary fiction, Japanese fiction, and these are obviously high fantasy. But yeah, I do enjoy having a little bit of a different vibe to break up these two chunky books, or not this one anymore, I guess. And then also, I don't have it here right now, it's on my bookshelf already, but I also have Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin already, so probably once I'm done with this, or this depends which one I'm gonna be done with first, although I think it's gonna be this one probably, I'll start with Giovanni's Room then, and I guess that's probably gonna be when I'll next update you. So yeah, that's that for this update. So it's still the 19th, but I wanted to check up anyway. I just finished chapter 20 of The Sword of Kaigen, and I don't know if you can tell, but I just cried my eyes out because to say I didn't expect the thing that just happened to happen is wrong, because when people started talking about how much this book made them cry, I was like, there's gonna be some hard shit in here to read. But I expected the things that just happened to happen not a lot later in the book, but later in the book, not like 2/3 into the book. And yeah, I'm scared to continue on because I'm already hurting a lot, and usually it gets worse towards the end, and I'm not sure if I can take worse. So yeah, here's to hoping it doesn't get worse. Although, I mean, I've also heard, like, the one critique I've heard about the book is that the ending is very long and that it could end sooner, so maybe it doesn't get worse, but yeah. That was hard to read. That was really hard to read. Since I just filmed a regular video, I thought I'd update you so that you don't always just get to see the barefaced me and get to see my little bit nicer looking face in this video as well. Also, the nicer lighting and everything. But anyway, the poll whether or not I'm gonna put my final thoughts on the books in this vlog or in an extra wrap-up ended with a tie. So what I decided to do is I'm just gonna talk while reading the books, and then at the end, if the vlog is still short enough, I'm just gonna put all my final thoughts at the end of this video, and if the vlog is too long, I'm gonna put all the final thoughts in an extra video. But yeah, you can probably tell already by me holding up this book. I finished this yesterday, and I mean, you saw the start of the mess I was while reading this book in the last clip. But yeah, that went on for about 200 pages longer, and I was a mess by the time I finished this book. I gave this 5 stars because while I did say I'm not gonna rate any books this year, I'm still gonna rate 5 stars because 5 stars are 5 stars, and like, you know, there's no nuance to that. 5 stars are books I love. That's it. And yeah, I didn't want to update you yesterday evening because I was just dead. I was feeling dead inside, and I was just like, I cannot deal with that right now. I don't want to do anything. I just want to lie in bed and cry. And that's basically what I did, because this book hurt me a lot. Like a lot. And it also made me film the video I just filmed earlier, which you saw a month ago probably, which was the books that made me sob hysterically video. So yeah, I will leave the link down below and up there. But I can also now tell you what this book is about, and that is that this book is kind of a military Eastern Asian inspired fantasy. So similar to Grace of Kings in that regard, although it couldn't be more different from Grace of Kings if it tried. But yeah, we follow 2 characters, Misaki and Mamoru, as their village is attacked. And basically the first third of the book is the lead up to the attack, the middle third is the attack, and then the last third is the fallout of the attack. And I just found that very, very interesting, just the way it was structured and so on. So yeah, I loved it. Final thoughts are either gonna be at the end of the video or they're gonna be in an extra video. But go and read this book. I loved it. So far my TBR is going great. Like A+ choice. I just trust all of you. And then also I did continue reading Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm now about halfway, 2/3 through the book. And yeah, really enjoying it so far. It's very different, as I said, from both The Grace of Kings and The Sword of Kaigen, because there's just not that much substance there. That sounds so negative, but you know, this is literary fiction. There's just no plot, not really that much character development, although there is a little bit. This one, by the way, yesterday also did make me tear up a little bit, because there are some very emotional moments in this book as well. And yeah, I do enjoy this very much as well. And yeah, once I'm done with this, I'm gonna start Giovanni's Room, which I still cannot show you because now I don't have it on my bookshelf anymore, but it's back at my bedside table. So yeah, this is it. And I'm probably gonna be done with this tomorrow in the evening. And yeah, that's it for now. So it is now the 21st of January and I just finished Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and I really enjoyed this as well. So far there hasn't been a single dud yet. I have enjoyed all the books. I mean, The Grace of Kings as well as this one, I wouldn't necessarily call them 5-star reads for me, and I'm also not sure if they'll be in my best of 2021 at the end of the year, which honestly would be amazing if there's a couple of books in this TBR that are still gonna be in my best of at the end of the year. But yeah, I still really enjoyed it. But now we can talk about what this is about. This is quite a short speculative fiction type story. It's a Japanese author, it was translated from Japanese. And this centers around a cafe where you can go and you can travel back in time. However, there's a few rules. You're not allowed to leave your seat. Nothing you will do in the past will change anything in the present. And the last rule is you have to return before the coffee gets cold, because you're given a cup of coffee and you have to return before it gets cold. And yeah, so basically it's four stories of 4 different people that are kind of connected through the cafe. They know each other, but that still don't, like, the stories themselves still can stand separately. And I really enjoyed it. I teared up a few times, I gotta be honest. So yeah, that's 2 out of 3 so far for the books on this TBR that made me cry. Although this one didn't really make me cry. I didn't have a tear rolling down my cheek, but I did definitely tear up. So yeah, I'm really excited that this TBR, this project, is going so well. And now the only book I still have with me physically is Giovanni's Room, which I will probably start today or tomorrow. I have a few books ordered as well, but it just takes longer for them to arrive, especially since Austria is still in lockdown and we're gonna be until the beginning of February at least. So yeah, gonna start this and we'll see how it goes from then on. So it's now the 26th of January and I finished Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. I actually finished this yesterday morning, but then I forgot to film a clip, so now you get it. Actually, I didn't really film anything while reading this because it's so short. It's like 160 pages, and so yeah, I just never knew when to film a clip on my thoughts on this. So I guess this is just me checking in very quickly to tell you I'm done with Giovanni's Room. And yeah, I don't really know yet how I feel about it. I mean, I like the book, but it made me feel very depressed. So, you know, I'm gonna marinate in my feelings on this book a little bit more. And yeah, once I'll wrap up all the books, be it at the end of this video or in a separate video, I will tell you what exactly my thoughts are on this book, because hopefully I was able by then to think a little bit about it. But yeah, so far I'd have to say I enjoyed it. Isn't the right way to describe it. I liked it and it made me feel depressed. So that's my 2 feelings on this book so far. Also, what is this about? This is kind of hard to describe. It's basically about this American dude who goes to France and kind of takes a break from his girlfriend. So his girlfriend went to Spain, he went to France, and he meets this guy, Giovanni. And it's a black bisexual classic. It's about the relationship between our main character and Giovanni and what they get up to in Giovanni's room. That sounds more nefarious than it is. just, you know, the two of them live together and it's just their relationship. That's that. I currently don't have any other books here that I could read for, you know, this TBR. But yeah, that's it so far, and I'll see you again in a few days, I guess. Once again, looking a mess because I'm getting ready for bed, but it is now the 30th of January. I do have another book that I ordered, and this is Wait by Jeanette Winterson, and it just arrived. None of the other books that I ordered arrived yet, although I do have The Bear and the Nightingale at my bookstore waiting for me. They have like those 24-hour package boxes where you can go to order them, and it's usually quicker than if you order it to your door. So yeah, that's what I did, but I can only go there on Monday. And anyway, I just started this, like literally just started this. I'm done with the introduction. I read like 2 pages and I'm calling it now. This is gonna be a 5-star book. This book is so beautifully written. Like, I can already tell after the first page that I am going to absolutely love this, and that's why I wanted to check in. So yeah, we'll see how quickly or how slowly I will read this book, because, you know, sometimes with beautifully written books, even though they're quite short, or they can be quite short, it will take me longer to read them because I just want to savor every single word. And so yeah, I guess I'll check back in once I've read a few more pages or a few more chapters. And yeah, so that's why I wanted to check in, and see you soon. So I did finish Wait by Jeanette Winterson actually yesterday, but I didn't feel like filming a clip yesterday because I don't know why. I still have to figure out vlogging, because half the time when I vlog I just don't feel like picking up the camera. Anyway, I finished it, and it's the 3rd of February today, by the way, and I was so correct in my assumption that this was gonna be a 5-star read, because oh my god, this book was so good. Once again, I'm gonna share with you my more exact, more in-depth thoughts in a wrap-up, either at the end of this video or in another video, but oh my god, this is so good. Also, this is really easy to summarize. This is basically a retelling of the Atlas myth, kind of. Not 100%, I would say. It's mostly a retelling of the part of the Atlas/Heracles myth where the two of them cross over and kind of talking about their relationship, and yeah. Gotta hold myself back that I won't start rambling how amazing this book is right now. But yeah, second 5-star so far for this secret TBR challenge thing. I'm pretty sure both of those are gonna be in my favorite books of 2021 list, so that's a big success already. And then also Good Morning Midnight finally did arrive, so I will probably get started with this today, and I have no clue what it's about. I know Monica talked in her videos what it's about, but I completely forgot because I cannot hold synopses in my head for longer than 5 minutes. And yeah, I just know that it's a post-apocalyptic novel, I think. So yeah, we'll see how I enjoy this one, because this one, I think, so far out of the books that I've read for this challenge is the farthest outside of my comfort zone. So excited to see what I think of it. So this lighting isn't doing my eye bags any favor, but anyway, it's late at night on the 5th of January, actually the 6th because it's after midnight, but I thought I'd take like 5 minutes to update you on what I've been reading or continuing to read in the TBR, for my TBR. As you can tell, I'm already a little bit tired. So where do I have my books? First, I read a good chunk of Good Morning Midnight. This is the way it belongs around by Lily Brooks Dalton. I am a bit over halfway through. I am 150 pages of 250 pages into it, so I have about 100 pages left. And I have to say, sadly, this might be the first stud of this TBR. And yeah, it makes me really sad because this was Monica's favorite book of 2020 and I really wanted to love it, but currently I'm just not. And by the way, what I mean with that isn't that I dislike this book or dislike my reading experience with this book, but so far all the books that I've read, I've either absolutely loved or at least really, really enjoyed. And all of the books would have been 4 stars or more. However, this one, so far, I would give like a 3 star because I can tell that it's well written so far, but my problem is I just don't care whatsoever at all. I mean, maybe not caring isn't even the right way to say it because this book doesn't really have a plot. And so that's not a problem for me. I have a lot of books that I read that don't really have a plot, where it's more about the characters or more about the writing. However, I have to have at least one of those 2 things. And I feel like I'm not... I mean, this isn't badly written, but it's also nothing like outstandingly beautifully written. And not really in a writing style where I'm like, okay, I can really see what the author did with that writing style. Either it was very like bold or very beautiful or very purple prose, whatever. So it's not that. But if it's not that, then I need to be intrigued and interested and not always care about, but also care about the characters. And I don't care. I don't care what's gonna happen to the characters. I'm not interested in them whatsoever right now. So yeah, it's a hard thing because I wouldn't say it's a bad book at all, as I said. But yeah, currently I'm just very lukewarm on it personally. It's like this thing, as I said, where I can tell it's a good book, but it's just really not for me whatsoever. But yeah, I will probably talk about it a little bit more once I finish this. I will probably finish it this weekend because it still is a very quick and easy read. Then I'm currently also reading 2 more books of my TBR. The first of those is The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. And I'm only 3 chapters into this and it's a high fantasy, so there's not that much I can say or want to say so far about this. Although what I can say so far is that like it's moving really quickly, but also not, because I feel like the plot hasn't really taken off yet, but everything I know from the synopsis, like that it's about an orc who was supposed to be, you know, sacrificed to this god and who was taken away by a sorcerer, that happened all within the first chapter. And I don't know, usually in high fantasy, if you have that, you usually have a bit more build up to the inciting incident, but the inciting incident happened within the first chapter, so yeah. Weirded me out also. I'm 3 chapters in and multiple years have apparently already passed, so just a few questionable things where I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but I also don't have any particular positive or negative feelings towards it yet, so that's that. And then the last book I'm currently reading is probably the book that's gonna be the hardest to read. Not because it's a difficult book to read, like writing wise, but because it's gonna be a difficult, hard-hitting book to read subject matter wise. And it's probably, although also the book that I was not most excited to read, but most interested, I would say, to start. And I think this could definitely become a new favorite as well. But yeah, that book is White Chrysanthemum by Marilyn Bracht, which deals with the subject matter of the Korean comfort women during the Second World War, which were women from Korea, but also from other occupied Eastern Asian countries during the Second World War, that were brought to Japan, but also just brought to camps in those countries, and were then basically used as sex slaves by the Japanese military. And yeah, it's a very hard subject matter. It's gonna be a very hard book to read, and I'm not even 50 pages into it. I mean, I'm now more than 50 pages into it, but like not even 50 pages into it, there already was, I wouldn't say a very graphic rape scene, but definitely a graphic rape scene. So yeah, gonna be hard to read. Still wanna read it. We'll see how fast or how slowly I'll read this, because with books like this that have very hard-hitting subject matters, I find it that I'll either read them very quickly or I'll read them very slowly, and so we'll see what's the case with this one. But yeah, that was it for this video. I'll probably check back in with you in a few days once I'm done with, where is it? Good Morning Midnight. I also already have my copy of The Bear and the Nightingale with me, so I'll probably start this once I have finished this. And yeah, that was it for this clip, so see you in the next one. Sorry for the mess my hair is. I need to wash it tomorrow morning, which is why I put some hair oil in, which is why it looks really greasy. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell, but my face is pretty much a mess as well. I've been bawling my eyes out because I just finished White Chrysanthemum just now, and yeah, I was right in thinking that it would absolutely destroy me. I'm about to start crying again. So this makes the second book on this TBR that reduced me to tears and made me sob. So you know, that's lovely, that's amazing, gotta love that for me. But yeah, that was basically why I turned on my camera just now, to tell you that this book destroyed me. And I'm probably gonna film a clip as well tomorrow, because I still need to talk about finishing Good Morning Midnight, which I did yesterday, but I should have really already washed my hair today because it was already a mess, which was why I didn't film a clip today. So anyway, that's that, and yeah, gonna talk about this a bit more tomorrow, gonna let it simmer for a bit, and gotta just, you know, what's it called, work through the emotions. Is that what it's called? Anyway, see you tomorrow, hopefully looking a bit better and in a better emotional state than right now, because yeah. Also, maybe basically reading this book in one sitting wasn't the smartest idea, which is what I did. I read it in 3 sittings technically. I read the first 50 pages on the first day, then I didn't read over the weekend. Today is the 8th, by the way. And then I read it in 2 more sittings today, so yeah, that's that. But I'm gonna go to sleep now and cry myself to sleep, because, you know, the world is an ugly place. So see you tomorrow. So good morning. Today I look less like a mess than yesterday at night. I surprisingly do not have completely puffy eyes from how much I cried yesterday. I have freshly washed hair. I actually really like how it's falling today. But anyway, so yeah, yesterday happened. Today I'm going to try and film a bit more of a coherent clip now that I'm not tired as fuck and also not emotionally exhausted. So yeah, let's start with Good Morning Midnight, which I have right here. I finished this 2 days ago actually, and then I didn't film my clip yesterday. I finished this at night, didn't feel like filming an update. Didn't feel like filming an update yesterday as well, and I wonder why I suck at vlogging, seriously. But yeah, I finished this. The ending was sufficiently depressing for me to like kind of enjoy it as a whole a little bit more than I did in the last clip that I talked about this. But overall, I still would say this is the first fail of this TBR. Not a fail in a way where I didn't like it, but just, it's not for me. It's just really not for me. It's a kind of, you know, you can be the juiciest peach, but there will still people who dislike peaches. And in this case, I don't dislike peaches, but you know, I'd much rather eat any other fruit rather than peaches. So yeah, it's like I can eat it, I can enjoy it, but if I had the choice, I wouldn't pick this up. So that's my feelings on that for now. And as for a summary, this is, as I have said already, I think a post-apocalyptic novel, and we don't know what exactly happened, but we follow two POVs. One is an old man who is left alone in this research center after everyone else evacuates, but he doesn't want to evacuate, and so we follow him as he lives there. And then the other POV is a woman who is on a Jupiter mission in a spaceship, and she and her like mates are going back to Earth, and they lost all contact with Earth, don't know what's going on, and so on. And so you follow those two POVs. It's not really about finding out what happened or anything, it's more about them as characters, but at the same time I didn't feel like it was enough of a character exploration for me to really enjoy it. But I guess that's more for the wrap-up of this book once I talk more in depth on my thoughts on it. But yeah, so far I'm just like I won't even say lukewarm on it because I can appreciate it, but not for me. And then of course yesterday I finished White Chrysanthemum by Marilyn Brecht, and I don't think I have to sum up my feelings again on this. I will once I have my wrap up, but just now I'm just going to tell you what this is about, was about. This is a literary fiction novel following two sisters. One of the sisters was taken by Japanese soldiers during the Second World War. She let herself be taken by Japanese soldiers to save her younger sister, and she was taken away to become a so-called comfort woman, which I don't even know who started calling those women comfort women, but you know, I feel like the term comfort woman does not sufficiently encompass what these girls often, and women, had to go through. So yeah, that's the first POV, and the second POV is in present times, kind of in 2011, 2012, and we follow the younger sister who was saved, who has grown up, and now as a 70, 80-year-old woman, she has to come to terms with her past. Not just in connection to her sister and the Second World War and what was going on then, but also afterwards, the Korean War and so on. And yeah, it's an incredibly hard book to read, as I predicted, and I can still highly recommend it. I gave it 5 stars, probably. There were some things where I'm like, but I'm gonna talk about that in my wrap-up. But overall, I would still give this 5 stars because a book that makes me sob as much as this book made me sob is just, you know, it's gonna be a 5-star book. So yeah, that was the other one I finished. And then as for what I'm still currently reading for this TBR, I'm about 200 pages, so about a third, yeah, about a third into The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood. I still don't really know what the goal is and what the plot is of this book, gotta be honest. There's some things happening right now, or starting to happen right now, but overall I'm still more on the I'm intrigued level, but I'm not sure yet if I enjoy this book. Gotta be very honest. I mean, I enjoy it, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be any more than a 3-star read. That's what I meant. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it much more than my read of Good Morning Midnight. Although I think objectively this is probably not as much of a well-woven written story compared to Good Morning Midnight, but that just shows you that personal preference also does play a big role within stories, and I'm just not a fan of apocalyptic stories, post-apocalypse stories. And then I also read the first 50 pages of The Bear and the Nightingale, and here I can't tell you that much about it yet, although I can tell you that so far I really enjoy the writing style. And this one's a floppy book as well, so really enjoying that. But yeah, that is what I'm currently reading. I'm hoping that I'm gonna be a good chunk into both of these books until Friday rolls around. It's currently Tuesday, because on Friday 2 more of my TBR books are supposed to arrive. I think 100 Years of Solitude as well as, and then there were none. So if I'm almost done with both of these, then by the time the next week comes around, I can start those 2 as well. So yeah, that was it for this clip, and I'll see you in the next one probably in a few days once I've read a bit more of The Bear and the Nightingale as well as The Unspoken Name. And we're back with the messy hair, because I gotta be honest, I can't stand my hair being like all free, open. I don't know, I get annoyed by that really easily. Also, if you've been noticing that I am wearing the same sweater in literally all of the clips, it's because this is one of my, you know, I don't have anything to do, I'm just at home in bed sweaters, and I'm usually wearing that as soon as I come in the door. But don't worry, even though it doesn't seem like it, I am washing it in between. I'm not a complete filthy, disgusting person. But yeah, let's check in. What have I been reading for the TBR? So I have so much energy today. I don't know what's up with that. But first, I'm halfway through The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I'm really enjoying it so far, which, I mean, I kind of had the feeling I would enjoy this book, but for some reason until now I never really had the motivation to pick it up, even though it is quite hyped. Hiccups. Even though it is quite hyped on Booktube. I don't know why, but I'm really happy I picked it up. I'm sure I'm gonna binge read the entire series once I'm done with that. Maybe in March I'll read the other 2 books, who knows. But yeah, I'm about halfway through. I'm really enjoying the characters so far. I'm really like intrigued by the priest character. He's a bit creepy, not gonna lie, but you know, I really like him as a character. Wasn't expecting that. Usually I really hate priest characters. Then I love Vazia, our main character. She's just, you know, an adorable little girl. And yeah, really enjoying this so far, and way more than I expected. So that's a nice surprise. Then I am almost done. I have about 100 pages left of The Unspoken Name by A.K. Lockwood. And I gotta be honest, even though like I know what it's about now finally, kind of, I'm still a little bit confused, gotta be honest. At least like where it's gonna go in the future. I don't feel like, I feel there's been a lot of setup as to where the series is gonna go in the future, but not a lot of specific setup that's gonna tell you anything about where it's gonna go. It's the type of setup where a few books down you're like, ah, that's what that was about. But yeah, I have about 150 pages left of this book, and I'm enjoying it well enough, I would say. It's one of those fantasy series that are like a solid 3-star that I enjoy, that I'm probably gonna wanna continue on with the series, but I don't think that they're anything outstanding or anything special, or not anything where I think I would go out of my way to mention them on my channel in the future for any specific recommendations, unless it's something really specific where there's only this book that really fits. For example, non-human main character. But yeah, enjoying it, but it's whatever a little bit. And yeah, gonna check back in once I'm done with this. This is probably gonna be the next book I'll probably finish this tomorrow or on Saturday. It's Thursday now, by the way, the 11th, if I'm correct. Yeah, it's the 11th. then 3 of the 4 books that I still want to read for this TBR have arrived, and I have started one of them, and that is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I know the story because, fun fact about me, I was in a school where we did like 1 theater production a year, and in our first year we were split into 3 groups, our class, and one of the groups did a dramatized version of And Then There Were None. However, I can remember almost nothing about this book except the basic premise of the book, which is that there's a bunch of people on an island and they start dying off. But yeah, I'm enjoying this as well, but with mystery and crime novels, it's usually like I don't not read them because I don't enjoy mystery and crime novels. I enjoy them well enough when I read them, but it's kind of like, you know, I enjoy them, but not enough to ever want to specifically pick up any crime novels. And it's kind of the same with this one right now. Also, I feel like I'm reading it too quickly to really get who the different characters are. I'm about 100 pages out of 300 pages into it, and I feel like I should have written down the names of the different characters and who which character is. So yeah, but not confused. I'm not confused on that front, but I feel like I'm reading it too quickly to, on my own, like build theories or try to guess who the murderer is, if that makes sense. So yeah, 100 pages into this, although I will probably finish this Saturday or Sunday, so I'll finish it this weekend definitely. And then once I finish 2 of these books, I will start with these 2 as well. I have 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez here, which is just a really pretty cover for some reason. I really like this cover and gonna be excited to read it, especially because I feel like this book, what I know of it, very much in a way is connected to the history or like being South American. I don't know if that makes sense if I say that. So I'm gonna be interested how it's gonna be for me to read this book as someone who has basically no connection to South America. I mean, I do know some things. I have learned some stuff in anthropology as well, and like politics wise and so on, but you know, nothing substantial. So I'm gonna be interested to see how I will enjoy this book, although I think I'll definitely enjoy this book, but how much I'll be able to take away from this book for myself, if that makes sense. So that's that. And then the book I'm most nervous to read is The Only Good Indians by Stephen or Stephen Graham Jones. I never know with the name, I never know if it's Stephen or Stephen. It's like, can someone tell me? Is both pronunciations possible? Which one is it? Please tell me. But yeah, very nervous because I am not a horror fan. I get very easily scared, like very easily. And so that's actually part of the reason why I decided to pick this book up for this TBR, because I kind of wanted to read it, but I know that unless I have an excuse for myself which forces me to read this book, I'm never gonna pick up this book. So that's why I decided to put this on this TBR, because that gives me an excuse where I feel like I force myself to read this book. Does it make sense? I hope it makes sense. But yeah, that was it for this clip. So I'll see you in the next one in a few days, probably when I have finished these 2 books. So since I was just filming a little bit for Valentine's Day, I thought I'd update you a little bit on my progression within my TBR, because I have now finished the 3 books that I've been currently reading. It's the 13th of February, I think, today. By the way, I noticed when editing a few of the clips, I sometimes say January when it's already February. Just a little mention. But yeah, the first book I finished was yesterday morning, and that was The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I really enjoyed this. By the way, I won't say too much right now as well. I'll leave that towards the end of the video or for a wrap-up, although I guessing probably towards the end of the video. Actually, I decided I don't care how long this video is gonna be. But anyway, this I can now summarize for you as well. This is the first book in a trilogy. It's adult historical fantasy set in Russia. And it's set in this little village where there's a little girl who can see like all the nature ghosts and stuff. However, Christianity is coming. There's a priest coming together with a new stepmother for our young protagonist, and this priest is obviously pushing everyone in the village even more towards Christianity, which most of the people already were Christian, but as you know, during history in a lot of these rural places there was a syncretization of old beliefs, nature beliefs, as well as Christianity, and the priest decides to put an end to that. No, you're not gonna bring sacrifices to the nature spirits anymore, but just to the new god, the Christian god. However, there's something dark stirring, so it might be more important now than ever to, you know, not forget the old spirits and gods. And our main character, Vasilisa, has something to do with that. She might be the only person to be able to stop this dark stirring thing. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Gonna tell you more of my thoughts like later on, as I said. However, what I'm gonna say now, there were parts in this book where I was actually legitimately terrified, and I did not expect it. Was like very unexpected. But I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much, I'm definitely gonna pick up the next book as soon as I can. Then I also finished And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. This is a closed circle murder mystery, I think is what you call it, where 10 people are stranded, like actually they're invited onto an island and then stranded there. They are the only people there and they start dying off one after the other. And one of them is probably gonna be the murderer, so it's about that. But yeah, I mean, it's a fast read, it's kind of interesting, but I gotta be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. But if you wanna know why, I'll tell you in my wrap up. But there were a lot of issues I saw with this book, just, you know, racism, sexism, misogyny, those type of things. And then also, I just found it unrealistic. I don't know if that's the right word, but I'm gonna explain more closely in my wrap up. And then I also finished The Unspoken Name by A.K. Lockwood. This is also the first book in an adult high fantasy series. And in this series we follow Sorswa, I think her name is, and she was chosen to become the sacrifice to this death god in this death cult thing. However, one day there's a sorcerer who comes and he takes her away on the day that she's supposed to be sacrificed, when she's 14. And she then starts working for this sorcerer, and there's loads of other stuff happening. And yeah, as I said, I can't really add that much to my last update of this. I enjoyed it well enough. It's not my favorite adult high fantasy series ever. I don't know if I'm gonna specifically recommend this to anyone. However, I am interested enough to pick up the next book, which comes out in June, I believe. And so yeah, those were the 3 books I finished for now. I'm probably not gonna start anything new this weekend. I'm probably gonna start with the other 2 books on Monday. And then sometime during the next week, the Midnight Library should arrive. So yeah, that's it for now. I have 3 books left to read for this TBR, so we're getting close to the finishing line. And yeah, see you in the next clip. So it's been a few days since I last updated you, which I believe was on Saturday, and it's now Thursday, the 18th of February. However, I have by now started all the other books on my TBR, the 3 books that I had left to read, and I just wanted to get a little bit into the books already so that I can already share some thoughts and not just be like, hey, hello, I started this book. You know what I mean? But yeah, the first book is The Only Good Indians, which is by Stephen Graham Jones, and I came across a problem with this book, and that is that I don't read horror. The reason for that is because I'm scared very easily, like very easily. However, I also do most of my reading directly before I go to bed and when it's already dark outside, which I refuse to do with this book because no, I don't need any nightmares of elk women like haunting me when I sleep. Not necessary. So I am currently only reading this during the day and mostly in the morning, which, you know, I don't have that much time during the day because I also get into like studying time right now. So I'm now almost halfway through already anyway, and I hope I can, even though I only read this in the morning, still finish